both sides, you're looking 10 feet each direction. I actually even had the blueprint still on my truck underneath my seat, and they're like, no, but I went ahead and drew it out for them, and I was like, well, that was the opposite of what they were shown. So it's just, it's a sidewalk, it's a slope with a, a dish stormwater drainage that will go towards the stormwater drains. And so just to make sure that everybody's clear and the public is, up and clear for that. So once I, showed them that, they said this was, tremendously helpful to them, that they were 100% for it, but, they thought that this was redoing my parking lot. It's like, no, it's doing 10 feet from Fox Conoco to the four-way with another sidewalk down so that people can get, once it's completed, you'll be able to go from Independence and Ely all the way down to the grocery store on a sidewalk. So whether you're on a wheelchair, walker, scooter, or just walking and running, whatever, you're going to be safe and secure. So that's the biggest aspect right there. Second aspect is, part of it is, I put you guys in a hard spot. All right, that with the information all that I brought to you concerning my concerns, being on a committee with Mr. Carter here, has put a lot of you guys, you're running a multi-million-dollar business. All right, in that sense, you have to be friendly with one another. But many of you are past that aspect and are lifelong friends. And so it's hard to get information and look at things objectively. Just like you were talking about here just a few minutes ago about something that concerns Kennett and you want to make things right. And I was glad to hear that. At the last time I came up and brought this up, there was 2 months of videos that were missing from the records. And at the next council meeting, I gave Mr. Nick here, I spent some time. They're under different names, but they're all on YouTube. And so you can see each and every single one of those. And so one of the things that I did was I went through and made up a timeline for each person. And one of the aspects that was missing in there was, whenever I brought up and I'd asked in the council meeting, I turned and asked Mr. Carter, from a committee member standpoint, we wanted the contact person and information of, would you like one? Sure. Of Nip Kelly and Asa. I handed him a piece of paper, and you can actually see on camera at the end of that meeting that for whatever reason it turned and turned on myself and Mr. Carter there. And after asking for that information in this, I will leave one for Noble. While asking for that information from the city council and directly to him standing in this spot, you can see me pick up a piece of paper that is blank. All right? That's on that camera. So I stood here and asked him from it, and he hands me a blank sheet of paper. Okay? So I know this is going to be hard for a lot of you that I've asked, and I'm not the only one. That petition that we gave to you, I can go out and get a lot more, but that's just the main businesses up and down that this area is affecting. All right? It's 6 weeks since we've done this. And the last time I talked with Donnie Burke, Mark Brown, any of those I'm down through there, nobody has called, nobody has questioned them, nobody has asked anything about,
Okay, can I make some comments here?
Sure.
For one thing, I do not talk to my employees or discipline or do anything like that in public. All right? I do not, in my business or as a councilman, that is closed session between myself and the people that are participating in that conversation. And in that case, in this case right here, this is between Mr. Carter and I. I do not do this in public in any of my business situations. The council has provided me the opportunity to decide the appropriate actions to take. Mr. Carter and I have discussed this to the extent that I'm very comfortable with it. A lot of the things that you perceive were taken out of context. I'll give you an example. The comment about I'll quit if, you know, we do this. Well, that followed a conversation where I had just gotten on him because he was trying to take too many jobs on at one time. And I had made it plain that we could not allow we cannot continue to add jobs to the situation or to the director when we've gone, it's not doable. It was not doable. We went from a budget of $30,000 to $750,000 with actually one person less right now, correct? And it's impossible to keep up with what's going on. So some of these things have followed a very, very in-depth, long conversation, and those were things that I understood what he was talking about because I'd just given him all kinds of grief about you can't take on this many responsibilities. He's doing 60 hours a week right now, working for us. He's involved in tons of projects. We have had a conversation. We have talked about things. The committee has been involved in it as well. Mr. Noble has been involved with me on it. As of tonight, I am no longer the chairman of that committee. But we have dealt with this, I feel, very thoroughly. And I'm very comfortable with the situation. And I'm involved with Mr. I have never had a personal relationship. We go to the same church. That's it. Now, since we've been involved in the street committee, I have developed a relationship with him. But it is a professional relationship, and we spend a lot of time working on these different projects. And so at this point, I don't think anybody from the council has gotten on me about any of the changes or anything that's going on. I think everybody's very comfortable with it. I would be glad to talk to anybody that would like to talk to me about it, though. But I'm not going to tell them what the conversation was between Mr. Carter and I. That is something for he and I to know, and I feel very comfortable that going forward, things are going to go the right direction for us. We have a lot of projects this year. I feel very good about it. I think we're going to do, I'm looking forward to the changes that we see in the city. So I appreciate your concern, appreciate your work, but a lot of that, like I said, is out of context. And you know, if you'd like to talk to me more later about it, I'd be glad to, okay? But I don't want to air it out, and you know, that's just not the way I work.
Well, the main reason that I brought it up in public and open forum is that, you know, many of those business people and property owners down St. Francis have asked for 10+ years, can something be done about St. Francis Street? And nothing happened until I started, and like I started out my conversation when I first came up here, I said, I'm going to be a squeaky wheel. And I was a squeaky wheel for a long time.
Do you know that I have blueprints and actually had a town meeting with our design for the changes in St. Francis Street about, how many years ago? 6 years ago?
Yes.
And it was all based upon Mr. Carter's ideas, wanting to get that taken care of. We got the money from the tax issue and decided our first project was going to be St. Francis Street, and then we found out that the bypass was going to come in, and I even announced to the city council that it was my decision, that we can't go forward with that direction because we're going to have this bypass and people from the surrounding communities will be coming through Kennett, so we wanted to square away all those intersections. And even so far yesterday, I was at one of the business owners' offices there. They're still not happy with something that we've done, and I was out there looking at their gravel and all this stuff. So he came up with that idea, not me, and then I scratched it because of the changes that we made. So I can tell you, the owners of store down on that side, St. Francis, that they did a lot of their own work. McCall Tire and Appliance, wasn't it? They were there. We had wonderful plans for it. Going to do it up nice. I've been to several of the businesses there over time and explained to them that no, this was not going to, what are you going to do about your parking lot, just like you're talking about? And they went, what? And I said, this is only going to come up to the telephone poles. So I've been dealing with a lot of that, And I'm the one that snuffed it, so that's not his fault, that's me, and that's why we want to get back to it and get it taken care of, because it is a very good project and needs to be done. So he said yes, I said no, and that was just what we as a council felt like was appropriate.
But I just know that with the hard part as being on that committee that we had, especially, trying to get the blueprints. Why did it take, we ended up having to scratch 2 meetings because we didn't have them. And then finally they showed up after you requested them at the regular street committee meeting. So it's things like that. I just, you form this committee to help with the codes. All right, that's going to be great to get the community involved. But, from our committee that we sat on, it was just, if you run into a, department head that ends up in giving you as much grief in the beginning, because once we got to the point where we didn't need any information from him anymore, then things just, they smoothed right on out.
Those issues have been discussed thoroughly, and I appreciate all the work that you've done. And as the street committee, we have been setting aside money to assist in that project. We may realize very likely we're going to have to spend a large portion of the budget to go ahead and finish things up and refine it. And so we've kind of had alternate plans going, and this is what we'll do if, and this is what we'll do when.
Yeah.
And so we're looking very forward to the project, and you guys have done a fine job on it. But the other things, I can't, so that's something I hold private, and I appreciate your concern though. But I'll be glad to talk to anybody further, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
I appreciate your effort. It's a fine job.
Thank you.
Anyone on the council anything else you want to bring up? We need to motion to close.
Yes.
Close the
Motion second.
Senate.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. As long as we get that in time.